Good morning, Dubai. How are you doing? Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Lovin Daily, where we take you through all the trending stories that everyone in Dubai is talking about. Today, we're talking about a story that's not based right here in Dubai. It's based in Switzerland, but it's kind of getting a lot of attention this morning because a Swiss couple has decided to name their baby Wi-Fi, and we'll tell you why later in the show. We'll also be talking about a man who's facing a fine of 250,000 dirham from Dubai police. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But our top story today is the number of people permitted at a wedding in Dubai has increased to 100. And I think a lot of people had questions last night after the Supreme Committee of Crisis and Disaster Management in Dubai announced this. So basically, wedding receptions, like I said, over 200 people will be allowed, 200 people will be allowed to resume in hotels, halls, homes, temporary venues, and even tents in residential areas. This is effective from 22nd of October 2020. Now, of course, there'll be a lot of restrictions, regulations in place, but I think it's a testimony to the fact that we're going back to our normal lives, but with precautions in place. So we can resume these happy occasions. So there is good news, but of course, like I said, a lot of strict guidelines you'll need to follow if you do want to host that wedding. And also, it's still a matter of choice, I think, because if you choose, and we'll get into the safety restrictions in a second, I think I'd still be scared to have a 200-person wedding under my name that people were coming to the house.
It's a bit risky. Yeah. But I guess if you take the right precautions and preparations, like everybody takes the test.
Yeah.
So you get tested and everything, and you isolate yourself for a couple of days or a week, and then have the wedding.
That's true. It is the happiest moment of your life, so why would you put it off for a year or two? And if you want your closest family there to celebrate it.
Exactly.
So just to go over some of the rules quickly, each hall is allowed to host a maximum of 200 people. Homes and tents are allowed, so you can have a tent in your home, but that's a maximum of 30 people. Now, attendees should avoid shaking hands, you should avoid hugging, stick to those non-physical greetings that we're kind of doing, a lot of the fist bumping, a lot of the toe bumping. Attendees should wear face masks at all time except when you're seated at a table. Attendees should avoid being face to face and maintain a minimum distance of 1.5 meters between each other. Maximum of 5 guests per table. Tables should be placed 2 meters apart. The duration of the event can only be 4 hours long. Any person experiencing symptoms, as you know, like coughing and fever, should not go to the tent. And elderly people, now this is very, very important, elderly people and those with chronic conditions are advised not to attend the gatherings. So that's exactly what you're saying. Like, if you abide by all of those restrictions,
you should be fine.
You should, if it's a well-ventilated area, you should be fine. But I think it's very tricky, as in, like, you'd have to be very, very careful, especially if it's a wedding and it's seeing people that you haven't seen in a while.
Yep.
But I think this is kind of, like I said, this is proof that the city is moving on. The city is getting back to normal with these restrictions in place. So if you want to host that wedding, if you want to host that gathering, they are allowed. But like we said, there are very strict guidelines in place, and you don't want to get on the wrong side of those guidelines because, as you know, there are big fines in place. Which brings us in, actually, quick question, and we'll check the comments after the show. Would you continue to carry out your wedding right now? Would you, Ali? I've spoken to Chai about this on the show before.
I need to have a girlfriend first.
Are you looking?
Yeah, maybe.
There is a hesitation there. Is there something I don't know?
No.
You're looking coy, so we'll move on. Would you host a wedding now, or would you wait? Would you bite the bullet? Up to you. Let us know. We'll read them in the comments after the show. Moving on, a man who threatened Dubai police is now facing a fine of 250k. You can see his photo beside me if you're watching on Facebook. He has been arrested after he posted a video to social media basically insulting Dubai police, threatening them, and also using foul language. Now, doing so, as you know, is punishable by the UAE cybercrime law, and he could now face fines or imprisonment, and the fine is not less than 250k and can also go up to 500k. So between 250 and 500k. So what, as we know, the UAE cybercrime law is very serious, but as well as that, police mentioned in the notice that they posted is that insulting a public employee is an aggravating circumstance of the cybercrime law. So that's kind of going a step up. We haven't seen the video, but what Dubai police are doing in some circumstances is naming and shaming perpetrators. That's why they've shown his photo. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see it. To just kind of stamp out that type of behavior. They take these crimes very, very seriously. The fact that it went viral on social media, that people have seen it, and he was threatening Dubai police, insulting them, using foul language, and that's just a no-go area. Don't even think about it. Also, just in those lines, think about what you're forwarding on WhatsApp. The UAE cybercrime law is not to be messed with, and the fact that this young man is now facing imprisonment and fines between 250 and 500k, which is a life-changing sum of money, something that most of us don't have in our back pockets. So this could change his life for something he may or may not have thought about too much by posting on social media. He could have just posted something without even thinking. He could have been in a bad mood. He posted it, and now his life has changed. So just really think about that. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'm going to tell you why a Swiss couple has named their baby Wi-Fi. Join us after the break. Guys, welcome back to the show. I said I would tell you why a Swiss couple have named their baby Wi-Fi, and the reason is to get 18 years of free Wi-Fi.
Love it.
Love that for them. Swiss internet provider called Wifi, hope I'm pronouncing that right, said they would give 18 years of free Wi-Fi to parents who choose to name their little ones Tweefus or Tweefa. So I'm assuming that's the kind of gender. Why do they have to do a gender though?
I do not know.
Maybe that was to like skip away. So Tweefus, Tweefa, I'm not really sure which is the male or female there. Basically an anonymous couple who've chosen to remain anonymous because they don't want to have to justify their decision. They've chosen it as a girl's middle name. So not the first name, but they have put the name on the birth certificate. So what Tweefa, which is the Swiss internet service provider, said, they said simply upload a photo of your child's birth certificate, and after verification, Tweefi will give you 18 years of free internet.
Now that is amazing.
That is something. That is something. So what the dad said about this story, he said, the longer I thought about it, the more the name came for me, and that was when it got its charm. The mother said, for me, the name Tweefa also stands for connection in this context. So for an internal bond. But they're getting a lot of shade. They're still anonymous, by the way, which I think is good because I don't want, I would hate like any of our comments or any comments for people online to be directed at them. But I think it's more of an interesting conversation over the choice of names and the free internet for 18 years. Now, they have said since that they will, all of the money that they are saving on Wi-Fi, they will put into a savings account. I wish I knew more about, I was going to say a bond, but I don't know what that is. A savings account for their child, and then when she turns 18, they're hoping that she'll be able to buy a car and start driving before the age of 18, which I mean is ideal.
That's great. That's great. They're thinking ahead. They're a smart family.
They are thinking ahead. So which leads us to Irish, or I was like Irish internet service provider names. So Twifa is obviously a Swiss word, which they say means eternal bond. When they get to kind of to the meanings of the name. So if I was to look at, let's say, the names here, Du or Etisalat, or Virgin, or we're missing one. UAE internet service providers.
Virgin.
I think there's one more. Obviously, Etisalat and Du are kind of the main internet service providers, and they have kind of majority monopoly.
Yeah.
But then they kind of streams down into Virgin. Okay, so Etisalat, Du. I think Du is kind of interesting.
you name your kid Du.
It's a can-do name. No, okay. Can-do attitude, do not. I always think about names in that way, as in how could you kind of twist the name in terms of a pun. I love pun names. Etisalat doesn't really do much.
Etisalat. Imagine your kid's name is Etisalat.
18 years of free Etisalat, though. Not bad.
When is a person legally obliged? Like they can change their name legally, like 18.
Interesting, because you need Ali asked when is a person legally able to change their name. I think you would need your parent's signature at the age of 16.
Okay,
maybe
they'll probably give you the signature since they gave you the name.
Yeah. Well, but then you might lose that contract. But imagine if it was like free Wi-Fi for the whole house. Free. Would that include like all packages? And how can interesting. And I wonder how many more couples left on that opportunity, because it was just the first person to do it would get the 18 years. I wonder how many more people thought about it. How much would you be saving?
A lot of money.
So let's say, for example, 300 multiplied by 12 is 36. I think that's how much I pay for Du in my place. I don't know if that's
36.
little.
I'm bad at math.
So 36 multiplied by 18. 36 multiplied by 18 is
how much is it?
I need to open a calculator because I tried to do it on Google. Okay, guys, we're trying to figure out how much money they saved by choosing to name their child Wi-Fi and how much they'll actually be giving to their child when she turns 18. 13 multiplied by 12, 18.
Are we doing this right?
I'm going to do this properly. So let's say I pay 300 a month.
So that's 3,600 a year.
12 equals 3,600. Okay, now multiply by 18. They've saved 64,000 dirham. Sorry that took so long.
That's a year rent.
That's a year rent.
Well, it used to be.
It used to be.
Down, yeah.
That's an expensive year rent. That's a year rent in Marina.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, Ali and I are going to go to a maths class before we come back tomorrow. And let us know your thoughts. I think it could open up a world of opportunities for new names. You know, we can have a Subway child.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think just, stick to names that you like.
I'm going to go with Jasmine or Yasmin.
Why?
My daughter. Yeah. I just love the name. It's a pretty name, beautiful name for a little girl. When she grows up, a woman.
Do you know someone called Jasmine?
When I was a kid, I used to know someone. Yeah. Let's keep it at that.
Is there a story there?
No. It's just childhood friends. That's all.
Okay, beautiful. Guys, if you have any dream names that you're thinking of sharing, we'd love to know them in the comments below. We'll read them after the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Have a good one. Bye.